Lots of guys believe that they can't get women because of their height, their jawline, their skin color, or because they don't have a six pack. How delusional are these guys? Go ahead.
Should
All
I?
right, so I'll go because I'm actually starting to board now, so I don't know how
All right.
much time
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
got.
yeah.
So it's like I'll say this: they're generally wrong, but they are kind of right as well. I'll give an example. So, for instance, I'm a black. Now, well, I don't know if you could tell, but I am. Now, there's this whole myth that women love black men and black men get all the girls, and it's like there is a amount of women and fetishizers. Yes, that's true. But, but outside of the women who do fetishizers, and even inside of the women who do as well, there are those who just would not have the courage to get with one of them. And like, here's an example of what I mean. About a couple of years ago, I was renting out an Airbnb property, and I had Americans come and stay at my place. There was one girl, there was three guys. I hung out with them for like 2 days, and they all absolutely adored me. The guys thought I was the coolest thing in the world. As a result, the girl did as well. Second night, I sleep with the girl. Now, what does she say to me? She goes, "Oh my God, you're like no black guy I've ever met. You're like no black guy I've ever met." She kept saying. Now, the only reason I did sleep with her was because I'd spent 2 days hanging out with her and people she respects, i.e., her brothers and cousins. If I'd have just approached her in the street, she'd have told me to piss off immediately, 100%. Now, because I was in a place where she could get to know me and then see other qualities, yeah, I was able to overcome it. But so to that extent, me being black wasn't a hindrance, but it was only in that instance. So it's like certain things that guys think are hindrances do hold them back, yes, but that doesn't mean they can't overcome it. But to say it doesn't matter at all would be false. That's my opinion.
Alrighty, who's next? Jump in, jump in.
I'll do it.
Yeah, go for it, Ross.
So I've been dealing with this for well over 30 years, since 1988, with guys who have, I don't do live seminars anymore, but guys have come to me for over 30 years saying, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too old, I'm too bald. And I say, that's true. You're going to have much more of a difficult time if you don't have the right technology. If you have the right technology and the right understandings and the right way to use language, you can do some pretty amazing stuff. But it depends on your technology. Let me give you an example, Ice. Is there some kind of invention, some kind of technology that would allow you nowadays to get from Los Angeles to New York in under 7 hours? It's a no-brainer question. The answer is yes, a jet, an airline, unless there's delays. But if I asked you the question in 1900, you'd say, no, it's impossible. So it depends on what you're able to do. And my claim is, if you know how to use language to get into a woman's subconscious mind and to evoke her own processes for feeling aroused, for feeling attracted, for feeling she's got to take action, for feeling she's got an incredible connection with you, if you know how to do that, then oftentimes, far more often than not, you can get past those things. And not but, to give you a more complete understanding, if you don't take care of basic hygiene, if you smell bad, I used to kick people out of my seminars. I'd say, you smell like a fucking buzzard on a shit wagon. Go take a shower. If you don't take care of basic hygiene and you just need women in order to feel good about yourself, you're going to have one hell of a hard time. But given that you're a guy who knows his ass from his elbow and has general conversation skills, I can take you to do some pretty amazing stuff that people look at and say, he's paying that girl. But in fact, it's systematic. That's my, and unless you have some familiarity with what I do, that sounds like a bunch of airy-fairy nonsense, but it's not true. And one more quick thing. My avatar, the demographic I appeal to, are guys who don't have time to take hours or days to let a woman hang out with her. They're not in a position to have a social circle, so they can't do social circle game. They don't have a setup where they're super rich or et cetera, et cetera. They need something different. So with respect to the opinions of everyone here, that's just my position. I'm sure my position is incomplete. It's subject to change. and it's subject to my being taught by other people how to make it better.
Alrighty, nice. Yeah, just to note, this
Can
is
I
not a
add
debate. This is one
something
of our
to that?
discussion panels. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll jump in,
Okay,
just like
it's
going
kind of like
back off
you
what
have to
Ross said.
have self accountability, which
Go ahead, dude.
no, hold on, I'm literally boarding the plane. Yeah. So yeah, you need self accountability, and that's it. So it's like there are so many guys who feel like whatever their situation is can't be overcome, and they're wallowing in self misery and self pity. And it's like, woe is me, woe is me. And fundamentally, you have to stand up and say, look, this is my situation, whatever it is. I have one leg. I am black. I'm Indian. I'm massively overweight. I'm ugly. Whatever the thing is that you believe is a reason for why life isn't going your way, and just resolve to make things happen anyway. It's essentially about mindset. So like these guys here who are saying that they can't do what they want to do, they can't get women because of X, Y, and Z. That's the thing that they need to change. How they look at themselves and what they think is possible. But yeah, anyway, go on, Brandon. Speak your piece.
Yeah, I was gonna say it matters until it doesn't, right? It's like that saying, mind over matter, and if I don't mind it, it don't matter. So, you could have all these things, but if you don't know the conversational aspect of things, like Ross is saying, then it all goes down the hole anyways. So it matters till it doesn't. And if you don't mind it, it doesn't matter. So
I love that. That's genius. I'm going to steal that.
steal it, Ross. I'm copyrighted.
So much.
Yeah, I want to
All
add
right.
on to that. I think essentially it is somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? And there's this whole black pill community that I think find it really comforting to have this belief, right? Like if you're a guy that is essentially an incel, you can't get any girls, women hate you. It's really nice to think. Do you know the reason of this? It's not because of the behaviors I can change. It's because of the shit I can't. Okay. I don't have a six pack. I wasn't genetically gifted. I'm not tall enough. This is my race. It's really easy, I think, as someone that's not getting results or success to be able to blame it on things like that. It's kind of comforting in a way, but it does turn out like that. It is this self-fulfilling prophecy. So I think we do know, looking at the studies, that it doesn't matter that much. Obviously, it makes a difference. Obviously, we're attracted to this, but attraction is not just looks. It's also a set of behaviors. And if we look at the studies, women often talk about this, right? They talk about actually enjoying a guy that is a leader amongst men, that is more like charismatic. They care more about their looks as opposed to guys. So I think we project that all the time. We think, hey, we like a girl that's super hot. So we assume women just act the same when it comes to attraction, which they don't. And the other thing is, there's a huge variety of type. I'm sure if we went through this panel right now and described what women we like, it's probably going to be very varied, right? So even if you're a guy that doesn't have a six pack, there's a lot of women out there that will say, look, I like a guy that's a little bit chubby, or I like a guy that is a certain ethnicity, or I like a guy that, X, Y, Z. So if you're a guy out there, you need to be able to change what you have control over, right? So you can't grow taller. That's fine. Focus on everything else, or like get some platform shoes or some shit, but focus on the things you can change, build attraction that way. And don't just sit at home in your mum's basement complaining that you're not a 10 out of 10 looks, right? You can still get women. We see it time and time again.
Self-pity is the, first of all, 100% of what you said. And self-pity is such a, first of all, it's unattractive, but second, it's just the biggest blocker in the world. Self-pity and envy. So I have people who are so envious of men who are successful that reinforces their deep unconscious belief that they can't have it. Self-pity and envy are the worst things. It's the worst thing you can have. I'd rather have a huge wart the size of a watermelon on my nose than run around and walk through the world with self-pity.
It's true. It's probably the most unattractive trait. Like if you speak to women, like a guy that's walking around like a fucking victim and just crying to himself all the time, like even if you're good looking, when you do that, it's super unattractive. So yeah, it's like the first thing you have to get rid of when we're thinking about negative traits, of course. Yeah.
Yo, Isa, can I jump in on this question real quick?
Before we do, I have to introduce you. So we have this
Okay.
weird tradition where I do the introductions for you motherfuckers. So if there was an ad for hose and hair combs. You need this guy. It's Pat who runs Veiled Intentions. There we go. Continue.
Thank you very much for the introduction, man. I thought I was late, like too late, but yeah, I saw the question, height and looks, etc., etc. I can tell from my perspective, I'm 188, 6'2", and always been. Never wanted to stand out. Actually, I always had kind of problems, and I think many guys won't understand this, but I never liked being tall. When I was young, I never wanted to stand out. I always wanted to go with the mass, you know. I never wanted to, like, I wanted to be this gray mouse. And I can tell you, like, being 188, and I pulled out a nude here from me. No, actually, it's an underwear picture. It's back in the days, like when I was modeling for a fall campaign. I was discovered by model agency, and guess how many girls I got with this looks? Zero. Exactly. Yeah, zero. Because I was very I had no self-confidence, even though I had a good body and yeah, good looks, etc., etc. But my inner self wasn't there, you know. And that's why I think we can all agree here that it's very important how you feel, like how your confidence is, your inner self. And yeah, to all the guys, 188 or 189 doesn't help to get automatically laid. Of course, looks matter to a certain point. We would say no, looks don't matter at all. But yeah, this is my take on this.
Alrighty. Yeah, this fucking thing won't let me click. Any final comments before?
I'll add some to that. Just tagging off what Pat said. Dude, I'm 6'3". I'm a tall guy. Dude, when I first started the game, I swear to you, I couldn't get laid in a whorehouse. I couldn't. I didn't know what I was doing. Now we're teaching guys who, dude, they're maxed out on the looks, the money. They're making millions of dollars. Some of them think that's what's going to get them their results, and they still don't know how to get laid. They still don't know. So it really comes down to a skill game. Of course, it's going to help you if you're tall, if you're a Chad, if you know how to dance, if you have huge muscle. It's going to help. Everything helps. But confidence and the skill comes first and foremost.
Alrighty. I think there's a theme here. So what I want to add, I'm normally not going to add stuff myself necessarily, but I think it gets to a point where there are so many guys who have this mindset problem where, just like some of you guys were saying, including Brandon, it's like only at a certain point will I be worthy to get women. That is not the case. Well, it could be a case to some extent where you could be so horrifically unhygienic, for example, and a very bad person. But we're talking extremes there. But in general, there is this mentality that a lot of people adopt where it's like, I need to make the money. First, I need to get a six-pack. First, I need to achieve this certain thing before bothering doing anything else, or before you are worthy of a certain result. So I think you should never stop your dating life or have a limiting belief on your dating life just because you haven't achieved a certain objective. Now, similar to what Russ was saying earlier, there has to be a point where you at least take care of yourself and handle the basics, of course. Yeah, exactly. But you have to, you can't hold yourself back at the same time from achieving other things just because you haven't achieved X in some other aspect.